Hello guys, what's up? Welcome na naman sa panibagong episode ng Stories Philippines Podcast. My name is Paul. And today, pag-uusapan naman natin yung tungkol sa Aswang Hunter, gaya ng sinabi ko last episode. So, simulan na natin, no? Wala nang paligoy-ligoy pa. Aswang Hunter, ito yung kwento niya. There was once a pueblo where many of its residents had been bewitched by the aswang. It seemed that everyone was powerless to halt the aswang's scourge, and it likewise seemed that the entire place would become a pueblo of aswang. So may isang lugar daw dun sa ewan ko, sa malayong lugar yata ito. Basta meron daw isang bayan na marami na raw na bewitch o tawag doon naloko, hindi siya naloko marami na parang ng power ng aswang para meron bang direct Tagalog nitong bewitch? Tingnan natin, no? So walang may alam kung paano pigilan yun. Tapos kinatatakot nila na yung buong lugar na yun ay maging pueblo ng aswang o lugar ng mga aswang. Lahat ng halos ng naroroon ay magiging aswang. Pero daw meron daw isang brave man na nangako to save his village and to cleanse it of aswang. Pero yun, merong isang matapang na lalaki daw na nangako sa kanyang sarili. Siguro naging biktima yung pamilya nito ng aswang. So nangako siya sa sarili na lilinisin yung kanilang bayan na pinamamahayan na nga o kumbaga kinonvert na sa isang bilang aswang village, no? So to achieve his mission, he laid out a plan. One day, he went into a deserted house where he knew the aswang would congregate. So yun na nga daw, armed with a bolo, a whip-like tail of the stingray, some pieces of garlic, and a certain amount of ashes. He wrapped himself up in the sleeping mat he carried and pretended as if he was dead. His plan was, in other words, to offer himself as a feast to be devoured by the aswang. So ipinain niya yung kanyang sarili, Not for long, the aswang arrived. Ito na. There was a discussion that took place among them before they arrived at a decision. Two of them would bring the dead man to the nearby beach where they would feast on the corpse. Yun yung inaakala nga nilang patay. Soon, the pair of aswang was airborne carrying their meal. So, nagwa-wonder lang ako, hindi nila na humihinga. Hindi nila na aamoy or nararamdaman. Anyways, sabi dito, on arriving at the destination dun nga sa beach, the brave man abruptly unwrapped himself and stood up. Ayun. Paano kaya nagawa yan? Anyways, marami naman siyang dala. With his whip, he struck and beat the aswang who were forcibly driven to the water. Oh! Then he seized one aswang, a female aswang. Grabbing her hand, he beat her forefinger at the nail area. Okay. The ordeal so intensely tormented the lady aswang that she readily surrendered and was held captive by the Aswang Hunter. The latter then continued with his task, capturing with ease the remaining aswang. Talagang sa may dagat. Di ba yun? May na ng asin. Okay, so he lost no time in bringing the pair of aswang to the office of the alcalde. In front of the alcalde who examined them, the pair admitted that they were aswang and disclosed the names of the people whom they had victimized. Right then and there, the alcalde ordered the aswang to cure at once all those they have bewitched. Talagang parang kumbaga in terms parang ginayuman na nila yung maraming tao do sa village na yan. Adding he would put them to death if they ever made anyone ill again. Okay. The aswang complied with the directive, and from then on, they changed, leading exemplary lives. Oh, they become well known for their care for the sick. Ang galing, nagbagong buhay. Yun pala eh. So, hindi naman lahat ng kwentong aswang is tragic, no? May nagbabagong buhay din pala. So, ayun. Next is the aswang husband. Ito naman. Once upon a time, there was a widow with 2 young girls. The mother tried her very best to bring up her offspring despite their extreme poverty. Always wanting to instill in her children their need to be spiritual and religious, the mother never failed to teach her children to pray at all times. And she said that if ever that she should finally die, then they, her children, should pray for the repose of her soul. That day came. The dead mother's body, however, could not be buried since the children had no money and thus had not the means for the burial. The older girl, already near womanhood, was near desperation when a young man appeared. Seeing the plight of the siblings, the man said that he would help the 2 bury their mother on one condition, that she, the older girl, would marry him. Oh, taray. Papakasalan. Ililibing lang tapos yun ang kondisyon. Left with no choice, the young woman agreed. Little did she know, however, that the man was an aswang. Oh, and the reason why he approached the grieving sibling was that he wanted to eat the body of the newly dead widow. Okay, and so the burial took place and the young woman married Aswang. Early on, she began to feel unhappy at the way her husband lived in their marriage life. For without her permission, and in fact against her will, her husband would always leave their abode at night. Iniiwanan sila lagi. Okay. And he would just come back in the morning. One night, she tried to find out this mystery. She spied on him. Seeing him fly away, the realization finally struck her. He was an aswang. Fright instantly gripped her, and scared that her husband might turn her into an aswang too. She resolved she would not eat anymore in their house. In the morning, her husband came, bringing him with load of meat which, according to him, the flesh of a wild boar that he had caught while he was out in the woods the previous night. Later, he set on the table their meal which he himself had prepared. She knew what he was up to, and so she feigned she was ill, too ill to eat their meal. But he knew she was just faking. You must eat or I will eat you. He was by now aware that his wife knew that he was an aswang. Okay, nalaman din. Okay. And as he badly wanted to turn her into an aswang, he thus threatened her. Out of extreme fear, she tried to comply. She took a piece of the cooked meal, appearing to eat as ordered by her husband. However, she furtively dropped the bits of meat on the floor. So, kunyari, kinakain lang niya. Pero, nilalaglag niya. Kaya parang bata. Hindi napapansin. Ayun, ito na nga pala. Unfortunately, her act did not escape the aswang's notice. Oh, I see. Livid, he repeated to her his threat. This time, she complied. While the young wife did eat, however, avoided the liver meat. This prevent her from turning into an aswang. By this time, she had started to conceive a plan to escape. Next. The next evening, after seeing her husband fly away, the young wife hurriedly departed her home. Ano nangyari doon sa isa niyang kapatid? She went to the house of the village chief who wielded powers that enabled him to fly and slay Aswang. Morning came, and Aswang was furious to see his wife nowhere to be found in their house. Forthwith, he went out to search for her. Alas, he found her. She was in the village chief's house. Nasa bahay ni Kapitan. On confronting his wife's protector, the aswang demanded that he be allowed to take her back home. But the village chief rejected outright his demand, telling him off, "Your wife has left you because of your wickedness, and she will never live with you as long as you continue your evil ways." The words spoken by the village chief were enough to halt the aswang in his tracks. His eyes downcast, he suddenly found himself seized by guilt and shame. For one reason or another, as he raised his gaze, he abruptly dropped on the floor. It might be that the village chief word had some powerful charm against the aswang, for the latter was now lying lifeless on the floor. The aswang was now dead. Oh, ang galing. Ano kayang ginawa dun? Eto, aswang in binangonan. So, ayun. Sige, tignan natin ang kwentong ito. The aswang in Binangonan. Long ago, in the town of Binangonan, it is said that back then, nearly all town folks were aswang. Okay. Ayun yung sabi-sabi. Which was in the province of Tayabas. So, dito sa Rizal, Tayabas talaga yung pangalan dati daw. 3 young strangers arrived. They were actually making a tour of several towns, and in Binangonan, they saw 3 beautiful young ladies who were getting water from a nearby spring. Smitten, the young men approached and offered to carry a water-filled bamboo pails being lugged by the 3 dames. When they reached the big beautiful house of the young lasses, the men engaged in their host in a lengthy conversation. Since it was already evening, the visitors had their dinner. Okay, nakikain pa, prepared by the young girls. As it was already late, the guests decided to spend the night there. Wow. Sana all. Hindi na ganyan ngayon, di ba? Around 10 o'clock, the men... siguro ko ako to yung mga lalaki, no? Oo naman, take advantage na. Siyempre. Pero wala eh. Kala nila sila yung magte-take advantage. Yung pala sila yung kasi sila pala yung biktima. Around 10 o'clock, the men who were inside the room in the rear part of the house were roused from their sleep by the noise made by their beautiful host. It turned out that the young ladies were manananggals. Patay kayo. At the back of the house, where they went, the girls rubbed oil on their bodies. Soon, half of their torsos segmented and the upper parts flew away. After sensing that their pretty host had departed, the young men went where the lower limbs of the girls had been left behind and changed their position. At 4 in the morning, the manananggal, surprised at finding that their lower limbs had been interchanged by their guests, begged the latter to put their lower bodies back in their original position, promising to marry them if they did so. Oh, the man obliged, allowing the manananggal to reattach themselves in their lower bodies. Ayos. And so, the 3 beautiful ladies, in honor of their promise, married the 3 men. Oo, taray. Eto na. Now, after the wedding, one of the manananggal said to her spouse, If you do not wish us to be an aswang anymore, we will carry you on our backs to the other shore of the sea, where you will pluck 3 lemons from the lemon tree growing on the shore. And this you must put into 3 jars of water for us to drink. When we have drunk all the waters, tie our feet and hang us to a tree, heads downward, and beat us till we vomit a crow-like thing, which you must cut into very small pieces. Yung parang yung sinasabi nga nila yung sisiw. Okay, the husband did so as instructed. The first husband, upon seeing his wife vomit the fowl-like creature, grabbed the latter and cut it into pieces. As a consequence, she was cured, freeing her from the aswang curse. The 2 other husbands, however, halted the beating of their wives. Out of mercy, they stopped exercising their wives, who thus remained aswang. Later, the three couples went to live separately. One day, the two aswang wives were summoned by the leader of the aswang to attend the meeting of the aswang to be held in a place outside Binangonan. Siguro sa Angono yan. Ayan. In obedience, the pair of aswang wives departed on the scheduled date, bringing them with their husbands who rode on their backs. It was already dinner time when the two aswang wives arrived at the meeting hall. All the known aswang were present at the meeting. As soon as the two couples sat down, the two husbands saw the food being served. Human flesh that consisted of human fingers, ears, and the other body parts, kadiri. One of the husbands appeared undaunted of what he saw. He thus gamely decided to eat a piece of human flesh. Finding the taste of the flesh less tasty, he asked that he be given salt. Oh, the arrival of the salt disrupted the meeting. Every aswang made a sudden departure in fear of the salt. The two aswang wives, however, returned the latter and fetched their husband. Parang na-imagine ko yun, may asin! Ganon. Okay, some 2 nights later, the two aswang wives left their home to attend another meeting. Pinagmimitingan nila, no? Upon arriving at the venue, the leader of the aswang promptly ordered the seizure of the two aswang wives as punishment for what their husband had done in the previous meeting. The two aswang wives were put in prison. They were to stay there for the rest of their lives. Their husbands would later leave town 2 months after they got tired of waiting for the return of their aswang wives. They headed back to their hometown. Siguro sa Taytay. Joke lang. As for the first husband, whose wife was cured of the aswang curse, he remained in Binangonan and lived happily ever after with his now good and faithful wife. Wow. Nice one. At least may happy ending doon, no? Ito naman, aswang in Mabalacat. One early morning in a barrio in Mabalacat, there was a group of people threshing rice in the rice field. Suddenly, they saw an aswang passing by aloft. Lumilipad. This prompted them to hide behind the mounds of rice beside them. But there was, among them, an impudent young man who cried out, "Oh, why are you so late that you happen to be flying at this time? Anything so interesting that made you devote the entire evening to it?" On hearing the man shout at him, the aswang descended. He was furious, but the man, now stricken with fear, swiftly ran to the nearby bush to hide. Unable to find his target, the aswang left. Parang sinigawan no? Lakas mong bad trip na. The next morning, the aswang took the same route. Okay, as he flew, he saw the same group threshing rice on the rice field. Recalling the incident that took place the day before, the aswang quickly descended to hunt for the man who had yelled at him. But this time, the group would not flee. As the aswang neared, the gathered rice threshers rushed to the former. Swarming around the aswang, they beat him up and killed him. They found out that the aswang had in his armpits some oil, garlic, onion, and pepper. Huh? They found out that the aswang had in his armpits. What? Di ko na gets. But may dalang ano. Anyway, ito naman. Sa Mindanao naman tayo. Aswang in Mindanao. In Davao, there is a short street named Claveria, where whole families of aswang are popularly believed to have their residence, and their houses are pointed out to visitors. Among the Visayan on the coast of Davao Gulf, it is said that the aswang systematically propagates the baliti by making use of the rotten tree trunks as a suitable soil. an old tree of which the native name is Ononang, was an aswang haunted tree. It was a hollow trunk, into the decaying texture of which an adventitious shoot of abaliti had intruded, and had pressed its way upward through the soft material. Its roots intertwined within the trunk, its glossy, sharp-pointed leaves growing out through the numerous crevices in the bark. So in short, yung puno para siyang balete na balete in steroids. Mas nakakatakot. Ito, nobody but an aswang can make the trunk of any tree hollow. You see, the aswang worked himself through some small holes in the bark and with his long nails scoop out the trunk and claws away until only a hollow shell remain. Done that, he plants a seed or root of baliti tree to grow there, and then he goes off to work at another tree. Oh, okay. So, aswang pala may kagawan daw ng mga ganon. Ewan ko lang, nakakita na. Hindi, balete lang. Pero yung parang ganon, never pa. Eto, sabi naman, The Aswang in San Ramon. 1901, the villagers in San Ramon, Zamboanga accompanied a group of American soldiers to hunt the aswang that had been terrorizing the town. When the nocturnal prowler, or the suspected aswang, was spotted, the soldiers fired their guns at their prey. Though wounded, the aswang managed to flee. He, however, had no idea that he was followed. When he reached his home, his pursuers seized him. Inside his house, the American soldiers were shocked to find the decapitated hand of children who were preserved in the alcohol hidden in the thatch. Okay, nakita sila ng mga kamay ng mga bata na nape-preserve, nakababad. Enraged, the villagers began to lynch the wounded aswang. The timely intervention of the American soldiers, however, prevented the aswang from being chopped into pieces by the irate San Ramon residents. The suspected aswang was turned over to the authorities in Zamboanga. Totoo kaya itong mga ito? No? May mga may mga records kaya itong mga ito. Anyways, tignan natin. The Aswang in the Cockfight. Ito naman. It was one afternoon inside the cockfighting arena in Cebu. There was a woman who was a suspected aswang who was among those watching the cockfight. As she wore no pants, she caught the notice of those around her. "You are disturbing the people," a man said to her, but she did not answer. Walang pambaba siguro. The man was heard uttering something like, The man or woman? Okay, the man was heard uttering something like twisting the neck of the woman. If he wrestled with her. Which was in response to the taunts by the people around him. Later, as the man journeyed home on horseback, something happened. A crow flew near him, just behind his back. He was now somewhere in a bamboo grove. Abruptly, a big bat attacked him, making him fall on the ground. As the horse went home without the man, the latter's son went out to search for his father. He later saw his father sprawled along the road, badly weakened and unable to walk by himself. As the pair journeyed home, the son saw a woman, the one who was in the cockfight. She was seated under a coconut tree. She was the aswang who took revenge by transforming herself into a bat and attacking his father, who was on his way. Treatments by a mananambal enabled the man to recover from the mysterious illness that had befallen him. So, don't talk to strangers talaga. Lalo na kapag kakaiba yung itsura. So, ayun guys, no? Ang dami pa nating kwento dito. Ayan. Ang dami pa nating kwento dito. So, siguro sa susunod na yun, no? Marami pa tayo dito. Aswang in the garden, mga ganyan. Tungkol sa aswang tang, aswang wife naman. Tapos, ano pa ba? The Barangay Aswang, Crocodile Aswang, Failed Aswang Attack, The Feline Aswang, yung pusang aswang. The First Aswang, ito. Oh. Interesting. Parang Corazon yung kwento niya. Anyway, pero maikli lang siya. Siguro dito kinuha yung Corazon ng unang aswang. Tapos ito naman, The First Family which became an aswang. Oh, ayos. The Four Merchant in Dumangas, The Ghouls, The Grateful Manananggal, The Killing of an Aswang, Manananggal during the early morning simbang gabi, The Manananggals then in Capiz, Manananggal Mother-in-law, taray. The Midnight Wakwak, The Neighbor who is an aswang, The Porcine Aswang, Revolutionary General who killed an aswang. Wow, astig to. The Sailor and the Aswang, Story of Young Men who serenade the Manananggal in Capiz. Marami pa. The Three Manananggal Women of Capiz, The Unbelievers, Treating His Aswang Sweetheart, Victimized by an Aswang. Ayun. And yun, why the aswang and the tik-tik birds are enemies. Okay. So maraming nagsasabi magkakampi pala. Enemies din pala din sila. Okay, so thank you guys sa pakikinig ng kwento natin. Maraming salamat sa ating sponsors, sa mga subscribers, sa mga likers, at sa mga nagko-comment ng YouTube video natin, and sa mga nakikinig sa ating Spotify podcast, and kung saan nyo man gustong o hilig na pinakikinggan ang inyong podcast sa Apple iTunes, sa podcast app sa iPhone o sa Google Podcast, o kung saan pa man, Castbox, Breaker, etc. Maraming salamat po, and salamat sa patuloy na pagsuporta. Thank you so much, and hanggang sa susunod na episode ng Stories Philippines Podcast.